Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Off the Dome podcast. It is season 3, episode 11. This is Baller Nation. We got a nice little podcast coming up for you guys today on this week of the Off the Dome show. The MVP race has been really interesting this year. Very different than in years past, especially very different from last year, because last year's race was a little bit dry. This year's race is lots of unpredictability about it, especially with the Kevin Durant injury. And some teams are underperforming, other teams are overperforming. It's been a hectic race. There's genuinely 6 or 7, possibly even 8 candidates, depending on how you look at it, maybe 9, like everyone in the top 10, other than I'd say 1 that the MVP put out, or that the NBA put out, is a genuine contender in the MVP race, I think. And we got the third returns of the NBA All-Star votes back in, and LeBron James he's still the king of the NBA. There was a second there where I'm like, hey, Steph Curry might have a chance at being the Western Conference captain. That's not going to happen because LeBron James has taken a firm hold on that. We're going to be going over the top 10 vote getters, players that I think should be getting in. I kind of did my All-Star episode last week, but nevertheless, we're going to kind of touch back up on that right there for this week's episode of the Off the Dome podcast. If you're listening to this, watching this on YouTube, or listening to this on Spotify, I appreciate you a whole heck of a lot. I started watching The Bachelor too this week, so it's been a big week for me. I watched The Bachelor, the 2 first episodes. I just watched them on like City TV, like on the internet. It's an interesting show for sure. I've never seen it before. It's good. Teddy from this season and the pilot girl are the 2 best by far. But the guy in this show, he looks kind of like Jesse Palmer, the host, and I think that he's kind of an idiot. He pisses me off a little bit. Anyway, now that we got the important stuff out of the way, let's get going. The MVP ladder. The MVP ladder this year, or this year, this year's been it's been ridiculous. It's been insane. The MVP race. Every week there's a new MVP. You know, it was Stephen Curry at the beginning of this year, and then it turned more into the KD versus Giannis Antetokounmpo race recently, and now we've got a new number 1, and it's the same guy we had at number 1 last year. It's Nicole Yokic. The NBA put out their MVP rankings for this week, and at number 1 was Nicole Yokic. I think it's pretty well deserved. I'm going to take a quick peek at the standings right now to see where Jokic, because the Denver Nuggets currently in 6th place, and of course Nicole Jokic has been doing pretty much everything. Like it's Jokic's team. Jokic is the reason why this team has a winning record at all. There's 6 right now in the Western Conference. Jokic is number 1 in the MVP race. At number 2 was Giannis Antetokounmpo and his team. And this is why the MVP race this year is so interesting. Normally, the MVP goes to the guy with the best stats, whose team is in a top 3 spot in their respective conferences. That's normally how it goes. And most of the time, that player's team, or that player, is a definitive top 10, top 5 player in the NBA. This year, however, when I'm looking through the rankings of these players in the MVP race, look who it is. It's Nicole Yokic. Great stats. His team's in 6th. Giannis Antetokounmpo. But the thing is, too, Jokic, great stats. His team's in 6th. That's overachieving considering the injuries and the underperformings of other players on his team. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Great stats. His team's in 4th. Underperforming because he's got a good team around him. They just haven't been able to put wins together right now as of late. Joel Embiid, amazing stats. He's been coming on really late. He's in 3rd right now. His team's currently in 5th in the Eastern Conference. So far in the top 3, there's no great stats top 3 spot. Kevin Durant, up next. His team, the Brooklyn Nets, are in 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. That would probably be considered underperforming, and Kevin Durant's injured as well. So, and then Chris Paul in 5th place. Chris Paul is in 5th place in the MVP race and is averaging 14 points a game. That doesn't happen very often. That's not normal. That's not normal, and his team is amazing. And Chris Paul's there not because of his stats, but because his team is 35-9 right now. The Phoenix Suns are going crazy right now. Stephen Curry, great stats. His team's in 2nd. Curry's kind of been falling off recently, though, especially his efficiency-wise, and I really don't consider Stephen Curry to be a top 5 MVP player right now. I just don't think he is at this moment in time. He's not been a top 5 most valuable player in the NBA this season as of right now. I think Jokic and Giannis and Joel and KD, Chris Paul you could put above there, but you could argue DeMar, Ja Morant, LeBron James, other players you could argue to put ahead Steph Curry. In 7th is DeMar DeRozan. He's putting up good stats, and his team's in first in the East. Ja Morant putting up great stats. Of course, all these guys are putting up good stats, and Ja Morant is 3rd right now in the Western Conference. That's insane. And then Rudy Gobert back in 9th place in the MVP ranking, above LeBron James, which to me is a shock. I think to most people that is a shock, and I'm not really gonna hate on Rudy Gobert for that. I think that's a lot of people's first instincts is to hate on Rudy Gobert. I don't like to do that. I think LeBron should be higher. I think LeBron, he should be, I personally think he's at least like a top 7, top 6, top 5 MVP candidate right now. But that being said, the Lakers they've been struggling a lot. They've been quite shit recently, losing a lot of games that they should be winning. And that's really been the story of the season for the LA Lakers so far. And there's been a whole lot of controversy. And the Russell Westbrook, Frank Vogel whole thing right there. The Lakers, they're a whole podcast episode of their own, especially as we approach a trade deadline. LeBron James teams are always interesting approaching trade deadline. But what this LeBron James team has me thinking? This is the same kind of team that LeBron will carry to the NBA Finals and lose in the finals. This Lakers team that LeBron James is currently on, it's got so many similarities to those Cavs teams that he would drag to the finals for the East. And, it honestly could happen in the West this year. I think it'd be very funny and very kind of like a good way to sum up LeBron James's career is if he takes this shell of a Lakers team, drags them to the NBA Finals, and loses in the finals to whoever it is, the Brooklyn Nets, say, with the super team. That'd be very that would remind everyone of his days in Cleveland, where he would drag a terrible Cavs team through the playoffs and lose to a super team in the finals. And look, LeBron being back in 10th in the MVP races, I don't really understand that. Rudy Gobert being in 9th right now in the MVP race is quite interesting to me. I didn't really expect the NBA to be given this much respect to Rudy Gobert, but he's putting up 16 points per game and 15 rebounds per game, and I think like 2.1 blocks per game. Rudy Gobert has been insane this year. He is, in my opinion, quite easily the most disrespected player in the league. Honestly, he really is. As a Spurs fan, I would want to say that it's DeJounte Murray because he's not even going to be in the All-Star game this year. But I think when people see DeJounte Murray being ranked highly amongst point guards, I don't see anyone complaining that DeJounte's there. I see everyone saying, hey, look, everyone knows that DeJounte Murray is underrated. Everyone knows that, I think. But Rudy Gobert, he gets hate regardless of what he does. I think as an NBA community, we kind of have to face the facts here. We kind of have to face the music here. Rudy Gobert is an amazing player. He's an all-star caliber player. He's an all-NBA caliber player. And I want to go as far as saying that he's the most valuable player on the Utah Jazz. He is, because when he wasn't there, his team has been really bad this year, especially on defense. Gobert is the best defensive player in the NBA. He just is. He's the most valuable defensive piece on an NBA team. He's proven it time and time again. Defense is a difficult thing. Is a difficult metric to measure just by blocks or steals or tip passes and stuff like that. It's a difficult metric to measure. But when you look at the amount of points that the Utah Jazz give up when Gobert is on the court compared to when he's not on the court, when Gobert is playing compared to when he's not playing, it's a huge difference. It just is. And I love, and Draymond kind of gives the same vibes off. Draymond Green, the same kind of thing as Rudy Gobert. They are their most valuable when they have, players who can score around them. They're not going to lead a team to an NBA championship. They've never been those kinds of players. But if Rudy Gobert was on a team, if he was in a situation like Draymond's situation this year, Gobert would, I think, even have more of an impact on that Golden State Warriors team. But that's enough there of Rudy Gobert and the MVP. I think for me, real quick, just to recap the MVP in 10th place. That this is the list that the NBA put out for the MVP. LeBron James in 10th, Rudy Gobert in 9th, Ja Morant in 8th, DeMar DeRozan in 7th, Stephen Curry in 6th, Chris Paul in 5th, Kevin Durant in 4th, Joel Embiid in 3rd, Giannis Antetokounmpo in 2nd, and the MVP of the NBA, according to the NBA, is Nicole Yokic, which I really like this year. I'm happy that they've got Jokic there because I said this last week. Jokic is the most, it seems like he's the most disrespected former MVP that we've had. He doesn't get the hype, and fair enough, but I think, to really understand how good Nikola Jokic is, you got to break down the film because he is just the fundamentals that Jokic brings to the table is insane. He can this guy is 7 feet tall. He can run point and he can Euro step and he can pass and he can rebound it. He's just the perfect basketball player almost. He just genuinely is. It's insane. The quality that Nikola Jokic brings to the basketball court, brings to the hardwood every night. He's insane. If I was going to go through and give you guys my top 5 in the MVP, I don't even know. I feel like Nikola Jokic being first is almost a stretch because I'm so in shock, and he's been going off recently, though. I think I would stick with Jokic in first. I'm going to go Giannis in first. I'd say Jokic in second, Joel Embiid in third. Kevin Durant still has to be there, though he's injured. I'm going to take KD out of it. So I'd go Giannis, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid. Then give me DeMar DeRozan, LeBron, Steph Curry, then Chris Paul, Ja Morant. And I'm taking Kevin Durant out of the equation there because he has been injured. But this can be a good opportunity now for James Harden to make another push for the MVP because James Harden's always lurking around in that category. And I wouldn't be surprised if in a few weeks' time we see James Harden sneak into the top 10 in the MVP race because every single year he seems to have his hat in the ring. Even last year with Kevin Durant being hurt for a little bit, James Harden just started going off, and he reminds everyone. And I think that'll be interesting as the Nets progress without Kevin Durant. Will James Harden be reminding us of what he really is as an NBA player? Because Harden as a basketball player is not the guy we've been seeing this year. He's choosing to be the guy we're seeing this year. He's choosing not to score very much. He's choosing to be more of a ball handler or be more of a playmaker. He's leading the NBA in assists per game right now, James Harden, because he's just that much. He's a very versatile player. But will James Harden be reminding us of what this man is capable of doing? Will he be giving us these 45-point triple-doubles that we became so accustomed to 4 seasons ago? Which still to this day makes me sad, irks me how accustomed and how taken for granted James Harden was. We all took James Harden for granted. We took James Harden scoring 30 points literally every night. Yeah, every single night he would score 30 points. We took that for granted. We took him putting up 36 points per game for granted. That, you know how rare that is over the course of an NBA season to be putting up 36 points per game? That's not the last guy to do that was Kobe. Before that, it was Michael Jordan. That is not normal. 36 points per game, and we just glanced over it. We're like, that's nice. Whatever. What else can you do? How? I can't believe, we're going to look back in history. The next guy is going to put up 36 points per game. It'll probably be 20, 30 years from now. And we're going to look back and I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years. It'll be a long ass time before someone gives you 36 a game over the course of a season. And we're going to look back and look at the names. Who else is giving us 36 points per game over a season? Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. James Harden. Because he was that kind of a player, and I really want to see him start doing that again this year. Just kind of reminding everyone, hey, listen, I'm putting up the numbers that I want to put up, that I'm choosing to put up, because Harden's that kind of a guy. That's the MVP ladder right there. Moving on, the NBA's third round of fan votes has finally come back. The All-Star votes, third returns are back, and LeBron James has proven once again for, I think, the 6th season in a row that he is the king of the league. the most popular player in the NBA, and he's got the most fans, and he's going to get the most votes because that's what they do. I mean, shout out LeBron James fans shout out LeBron James fans for getting this man by far the most votes, by the way. The top 10 vote getters on the third returns. In 10th was Paul George with 2.3 million votes. In 9th was Ja Morant with 2.6 million votes. In 8th was Andrew Wiggins with 2.6 million votes. In 7th was Joel Embiid with 3.5 million votes. DeMar DeRozan was in 6th with 4.1 million votes. Nicole Yokic in 5th with 4.1 million. Big jump in 4th, Giannis with 5.1 million votes. In 3rd was Kevin Durant with 5.4 million votes. In 2nd was Stephen Curry with 6 million votes. And in number 1, LeBron James with 6.8 million votes. Almost 900,000 more votes in second place. LeBron James is the king of the NBA. He just is. He just is. And as I was looking through as well, I was looking through the NBA All-Star voting, I kind of started to notice that, hey, look at Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet might get into the All-Star game, which I would really be gassed about. Let me just try to pull up the All-Star voting again, because by the time you're watching this, it's probably all done. But I saw Fred VanVleet being third in seventh in the All-Star voting. I can't fucking find it. This is ridiculous. I'm trying to find it whilst talking, but I guess I'm just not that cool. I don't know why the NBA's got to make it this fucking difficult to find the All-Star voting numbers. But VanVleet was 7th, and DeJounte Murray still wasn't there, and I'm giving up. I've given up hope. DeJounte Murray won't make the All-Star game, man. It's a sad day. It's a sad day for me, for us Spurs fans. It's a sad day. DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray he's like the hope of the team, man. And I'm sorry that you guys who are non-Spurs fans have to watch and listen to this fan of a mediocre, irrelevant-ass team complain that our best player isn't going to be an all-star. But I'm telling you, bro, like, it hurts. It hurts for sure. Because the man's got potential. And I think our team's got potential, but we're still a few years away. We really are. And then we traded away Bryn Forbes and got Hernan Gomez. I mean, like, fuck, dope. I'll take it. Like, I don't really have an opinion on that. Like, I don't really know. But yeah, DeJounte, the best defensive guard in the NBA. 6'5", giving you 19 points per game, 9 assists, 9 rebounds per game as a point guard. Won't make the All-Star game. 2.2 steals per game. He's not going to make the All-Star game. It's sad. It really is sad for me. I'm not happy about that. I'm really not, But that's okay. That's how the bullshit goes. That's how the bullshit goes. Andrew Wiggins, I don't know why the fuck Andrew Wiggins is in 7th right now, or 8th in All-Star voting. I find that perplexing, genuinely. I don't know who is voting for this man. Who is voting for Andrew Wiggins to be an All-Star? I don't quite understand it. I don't know. I feel like at this point I'm just kind of rambling and ranting on, but that's really all my thoughts I have about the NBA this week. The Lakers are ass, which is funny. I like that the Lakers are pretty bad this year, and I hope they continue to be bad. And it's even funnier because Russell Westbrook and Frank Vogel are just being used as scapegoats right now. They're the two people that everyone's just putting all the blame on. Russell Westbrook and Frank Vogel, could they be better? Sure, but is it all their fault? No, it's not. I don't know who chose to get Russell Westbrook. Who made that decision? Why would you make that decision? I feel you can't blame Russell Westbrook for playing how he's been playing the last 3 or 4 years. This is what Russell Westbrook does. You know what you're getting into, and you picked him up in the offseason. And picked up Carmelo Anthony and Dwight Howard. This isn't 2010 anymore. Why would you make those moves? I don't know. It'll probably work out, though, because this is what LeBron James teams do. At the trade deadline, they got a bunch of old players. They're going to get some good pieces. They'll probably get some Jeremy Grants. They'll get some championship caliber role players and make a run. because that's what they do. That's what the king does. Le GM, Le Championship, Le Finals MVP. Ladies and gentlemen, that is episode 11 of season 3 of the Off the Dome podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, I appreciate you watching this. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you for listening. That's it. That's it from me. It's whatever. I'm feeling good and living better. Drake once said that. Peace out, y'all.